Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Pat Hughes. He's the co-founder of the Illinois Opportunity Project, illinoisopportunity.org. He's also a former United States Senate candidate, ran in 2010 against Mark Kirk. And it's interesting I bring that up on purpose, Pat. We were talking about Trump and this bit of a flap that he's created over comments he made about Chicago police and meeting with quote-unquote top officers on the O'Reilly Factor the other night. Got an email. Sounds like you're back to picking Trump apart, this time for his police comments. All you know-it-all conservative intellectuals are going to torpedo any chance of defeating Clinton, and you're doing it in the interest of advancing the cause of proving how smart you are and how stupid Trump and the people who support him are. And this is the challenge with some Trump supporters. They just hear what they want to hear, and any cognitive dissonance, any even constructive criticism of Trump is treated this way. It's interesting to me because apparently all you know-it-all Trump supporters, particularly those who have been Trump supporters from the beginning, have a difficulty. You need to explain your candidate's changes on immigration. You need to explain his apology from just a week ago. Apparently, your candidate, Donald Trump, thinks that steady as she goes isn't the way to go. So perhaps you would take judicial notice of the changes that Donald Trump is making and the changes he needs to continue making in order to be successful. And if you can take analysis that differs from your own, if it's my party right or wrong, and in this example, my candidate right or wrong, my candidate right or wrong, my party right or wrong is the philosophy that has the Illinois Republican Party in the super minority in the state and the worst example of a Republican Party in the country. Certainly one of them. My party right or wrong is what gives us Mark Kirk and those enemies inside our perimeter election cycle after election cycle. And what you're doing with the kind of my candidate right or wrong is the same thing. So if you don't want your candidates to be better, if you don't want them to color inside the lines, if you don't want them to hold to the promises they made as candidates upon election, then continue to say, I'm only willing to hear positive. I cannot, my delicate ears and tenuous sensibility cannot handle any cognitive dissonance. That's not this show. It ain't me. And it ain't Michael Barone, who joins us now, senior political analyst for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. Michael, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's good to be with you, even in Illinois.
Yes, thank you.
The United State of Illinois.
Michael, let's start with some of the focus on Trump's pivot, metamorphosis, if you will, on immigration. It seems to me that this is actually a smart tactical move. He's not going to lose his base. There's kind of hardliners are already kind of shrugging off his change in tone and substance on the issue, and it's an effort to get back, I think, and Bill Galston has a great piece in the Wall Street Journal on this today, get back college-educated white voters who he needs to get to 270 electoral votes.
Well, it's sort of Richard Nixon's old playbook. You go right wing, the primary, or left wing if you're a Democrat, and then move to the center in the general election. There's a certain amount of dynamic that happens with every candidate on this, and Trump did that to some extent on his proposals about immigration by Muslims. Remember that he called last fall for a ban on immigration by Muslims. His more recent position that was included in the Republican platform at the convention was we're going to ban immigration from countries that are producing, that have a lot of terrorists until we can vet people. Well, that's going to be less repelling to some people who dislike the idea of making a distinction on the basis of alleged religion. And it also makes positive sense. Why should we let in terrorists? I mean, tell me one good reason that we should let in terrorists if we have some knowledge that people are terrorists. Hillary Clinton, who wants to let in what Trump says are 620,000 refugees, hasn't given us a reason.
Hey, Michael, it's Pat Hughes. Thanks so much for joining us on the program. I have this theory that some of this is very, very fluid. Trump is moving a little bit, and nothing of significance is going to happen to change the whole course of the race until these debates. I think these are going to be the most watched debates in history. and then that's where it's going to come. How do you think Trump is going to handle the time leading up to the debates, and how do you think he's going to do, and what should he do when he debates Hillary Clinton?
Well, he surprised me a little bit by canceling the speech that they'd promised to give today on immigration and delaying it. So there's a certain amount of to and froing, it appears, in this campaign. Listen, my predictions on what's Trump going to do and how voters are going to respond to Trump. If I'd gone to a bookie with those prescriptions right now, I would be going to a loan shark because I wouldn't have any money left. He's a hard guy to predict. He's done some things which, in my view, were totally irrational. The week-long assault on the dreaded Judge Curiel, the days-long attacks on the Kizzer-Khan family. No political consultant would have advised a candidate to do that sort of thing, but Donald Trump did. And I think he lost some serious and important ground, which it's not impossible that he'll regain, but it's going to be difficult.
Well, Hillary Clinton is trying to help, and this Clinton Foundation matter, particularly after the AP report that came out on, Tuesday, more than half of her private meetings at the State Department were with Clinton Foundation donors who generated $156 million in cash for the Clinton Foundation, retrenching. Speaking of,
but Ruth Marcus in the Washington Post has come says that's not a crime. So since it's not a crime, you're not supposed to be concerned.
Yeah, well, okay, right, yeah. I mean, right, it's not a, but and this is, 2/3 of the people don't find her trustworthy to begin with, so this isn't going to help it. And also, in terms of to and froing, we've got a little to and froing going on with the Clinton Foundation. First, if she wins, they're going to not take corporate donations from foreign countries. Then the foundation comes out and says, well, we mean that in very limited scope with only certain parts of the foundation's activities. Chelsea Clinton, as well as Bill, will leave the board. Now, yesterday, Wall Street Journal reporting...
Well, it's really important whether or not they're on the organization chart as the board.
Well, right,
that's really important.
And Chelsea is not going to... Wall Street Journal reporting Chelsea is now not going to leave the board. So this seems to be like the gift that keeps on giving for Trump.
Well, the answer is that it brings to mind the baseball manager Casey Stagel's question of when he was managing the first year of the New York Mets. Can't anybody here play this game? Look, one of the things that we saw the Clinton apparatus operating is this little gaggle of people very close to Hillary Clinton, these sycophants, Emma Abaddon, the wife of the twisted Anthony Weiner, who has to have a job with the Clinton Foundation as well as the State Department because, hey, she's got to make $400,000 a year. How can you survive, And Cheryl Mills. They had a chance to prep Hillary Clinton right after the Democratic convention, which was going on in a Sunday show on Fox News Sunday. Questions about the emails. They spent, assuming they spent time, they spent effort, they rehearsed her answer. And it got 4 Pinocchios from the Washington Post fact checker, pants on fire from PolitiFact, and so forth. That's campaigning competence. You feed your candidate a line, and the line is not sustainable, and everybody says it's a lie. That's a real problem in that campaign. Every campaign needs somebody, people on the inside who will say, look, this line of thought, this line of argument that you're dancing is just not going to work. People are not going to buy it. You can't say that. You've got to say something else. The Clinton campaign apparently lacks that sort of thing, and the Trump campaign seems to lack it, or they have people that say this line won't work, and they're actually wrong, and it will. There's a reason that a majority of Americans have negative feelings towards Trump, and a majority of Americans have negative feelings to Clinton. They've both got serious weaknesses, somewhat different weaknesses, but serious weaknesses as a candidate. One reason, and one weakness of Hillary Clinton is that most voters regard her as a liar and a cheat, and, they're right.
Right. That's a serial problem. Michael Barone, Senior Political Analyst for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. Michael, thanks always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.